some really strong analogy to SUP right now and the way snowboarding hit snow sports world, let's say 15 years ago, even 20 years ago, like 95. It was not peaked yet, but it was going like gangbusters. All of a sudden skiing was not a topic, snowboarding was the whole topic. And everybody from the grommet age, the 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, to the entire teenage spectrum, to a lot of the 20-somethings had to be on a snowboard. They had to learn it, and then they had to own one, and that was going to be a big part of their identity. And I'm definitely seeing that with SUP, but I'm not seeing it in the same way in terms of age. I think it's going to trickle down really fast, and I'm actually watching, even the past few months, that trickle-down effect to the teens and the sub-teens. But I don't think it started there, the way that snowboarding had a lot of strength in that age group. I think where it's starting is in the 20s and in the 30-somethings, but in a similar way. Like, it's just ramping up so fast, nobody knows what's going to happen next, and we're all kind of trying to figure it out day by day. So I'm seeing that kind of growth and excitement, and probably haven't seen anything like that since snowboarding hit the
I think
US culture.
paddleboarding is definitely, like Shauna said, it's just way more accessible. I snowboard too. I don't think it would be as easy to just throw somebody on a snowboard and let them go down the mountain if that was their first time. But a lot of people that we have who come out paddleboarding, it still has that cool, sexy factor of like snowboarding or surfing, but we can get them out there a lot quicker. And like Josh said, there's just so much more you can do with it, which you can't do on a snowboard, whether it's a sail where you can take it, whether it's like white water, a lake, ocean. So I think it definitely has the cool factor of boarding, but unlike a lot of the other sports, whether it's skateboarding, wakeboarding, we can get people out there a lot faster and have them be successful and feel like, they're really what they're doing.
I do think that it really closely matches the snowboard boom in terms of popularity. Really, we haven't seen such a surge in popularity of water sports since water skiing was big in like the late 70s, early 80s. I might be off on the time. That was before my time, when water skiing was huge. But with the rise in popularity of the stand-up paddleboard movement, we've really seen the return back to the water and water sports, despite there being plenty of other sports that have come up and kind of became popular in between. There's wakeboarding, you could definitely do that, but we never saw such a big momentum that we see in stand-up paddleboarding today. And springboarding off of what Shauna said, I really agree with the accessibility of stand-up paddleboarding, what you were saying with that. I've seen people of all ages learning it and having success with it. So, it doesn't matter if you're young. It's a cool, hip thing to be on a paddleboard right now, but you don't have to be, quote unquote, a cool, hip individual. You don't have to be with it. You don't have to be down with the cool crowd. You can be anyone, any age, any physical ability level, and still be able to get out on the water, learn a really interesting sport, and kind of grow yourself and your abilities on the SUP.
SUP is the four-door wrangler of this culture. That what Jeep did with creating the original Jeep, and it was this awesome off-road vehicle, but you had to choose: do I want to have storage space, or do I want to have a back seat? And it was like that for decades. Then they finally came out with the four-door Wrangler. Suddenly you could have a family car, but still have an off-road vehicle and still look awesome and still live that lifestyle of an off-roader, but then take the kids to soccer practice. And so it really appealed to that middle age, but not the same middle age that SUP does.
In terms of the way that I've approached the sport, I think that what's made me kind of continue and keep going back to it and trying to get better and trying to refine my stroke and trying to find people to do it with is that there's parts of it that make so much sense to me, and I've been able to really create exactly what I want from the sport. So, one of the first things I did with I bought a board. You can surf it definitely, but I carefully carved out the foam and put on in little circles so that I could attach
For your tie
deck
downs.
line and tie downs, and I can put 40 pounds on that thing, and it rides better than when it's unladen. And I can take it through the surf zone and go out on chop, and I have my tent and some water and food, and I can just go. And that is, to me, that's one of the best times I can have, is to be out just going like a train, going and going. but it's funny when you said when you said that four-door analogy, I was like, oh yeah, like the way I can put everything that I own on the back.
There's just so much versatility. And I guess going back to the four-door comparison, like, the Jeep where you take the doors off and it's sexy, but not everybody, it's not going to fit everyone's needs, especially if you're a mom with kids. So paddleboarding is more like the four-door, like you can have the sexy aspect, or if you want to get, more in touch with nature, or go on a long fishing expedition. You can do all, and most of the time you can do it on the same board. You get kind of a mid-grade, and there's just so much more you can do with it. And even, you can do that with a kayak too, but like a board is so much lighter. There's so many more options where you're carrying it or, strapping on your car. I just feel like compared to some of the other sports, there's just so much you can do with it with the same equipment. There's not a lot that you really have to figure out. I think that's why it's gaining so much popularity from so many different
When I go out on a stand-up paddleboard, it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in, what I'm looking for. I could go out and I can get in touch with nature, or I could just go on a relaxing paddle just to kind of escape the stresses of like a normal day. Or I could go out there, I can play around and have fun. So it has this multitude of like intrinsic benefits that you can get from one board, and then extrinsically or externally, you can use that one board to do different types of activities. You could take that one board into the waves and surf it. You can take it onto the flat water and explore. You can take it across the lake to the other side to go exploring. So it's really a catch-all, like you said, with the four-door Jeep. You can kind of take that one vehicle and do whatever your heart wants that day.